For those of you who don't know Mary Whenman, Mary is the Senior Director of Group Communications for British Business Bank. We're very happy to be able to sit down with you today.
I'm looking forward to it.
The first question is that dreaded question of, so wait, what do you actually do again?
Well, I answer it in a number of ways, depending who I'm talking to. I generally say I'm a communications director, and if someone doesn't understand what that means, I'll say my role is to manage the relationship between my organisation and the media, and I take it right down to a very simple level like that. And I also tend to talk about the fact that I'm managing the reputation of my organisation, and a lot of people don't know who the British Business Bank is, and I explain that we're the UK's economic development bank. But also I sometimes just say to people, I work for the government's investment bank, and that opens up a really interesting conversation, because I think I heard a phrase earlier this year that corporate affairs directors and communications directors are master conductors, and I think that's a really good phrase, because you are in a really privileged position where you're sort of helicoptering across your organisation. And not many roles within an organisation have that opportunity to see right across it and also inside it.
So looking back over your career, is there a singular piece of advice you'd offer?
I've really struggled actually to identify a single piece of advice, because I've got a few things, but it occurred to me that actually you can package it all up around career management, and I wish I had been better at managing my career. I think today's younger generation who are in their 20s and 30s, I think they're really switched on to the whole aspect of career management. I wasn't, and it took me quite a long time to understand that. I think if you looked at my LinkedIn, you'd probably think Mary's managed her career incredibly well.
Yeah.
But I think a few things stick out for me within the whole sphere of career management. I think it's really important to know when to move and when to stay. It was a very, very buoyant market when I was growing up through agency. So I did move and would spend sort of 2 or 3 years in each role. But I think that I could have served myself better had I stayed in some of those roles longer. And I've realised, having been at the British Business Bank for 7.5 years, you're going to go through cycles where you absolutely love your job and it's amazing. And there will be some more challenging times, but that doesn't mean to say that you need to switch roles. I think that I stayed in agency for too long. I should have moved probably a good 5 years before I did, if not a bit earlier.
Do you think it was harder convincing people to give you that opportunity to move in-house coming from a very senior position on the agency side?
Yes, it is that, but it is also the fact that my last agency role, I was running a £9 million business unit, a 60-person team, and to move into a comparable role in-house, people are looking for someone who've got 20, 25 years track record in-house. So I think that was the biggest challenge for me. Having said that though, now that I've had 10 years in-house, I think there are so many transferable skills. And I actually do a training course every year for BME PR pros for their exec program, which is to support young and emerging leaders from a Black or Asian or ethnic minority backgrounds. And I do a masterclass for them, all on the transition from agency to in-house. I think the one thing I did do really well, though, was building my network. And I would give any person in the industry, build your network in your 20s and your 30s, because you will really need it when you get over 40, and that's when it will really come into its own. And I think I did do that really well.
Brilliant. That's two fantastic answers. Thank you for that. And the power of the network should never be underestimated, should it? So the final question is, if you weren't in the world of external affairs, what would you be doing? What would you like to be doing?
Well, I am a frustrated interior designer. I've actually got a Natasha Law print on the wall behind me. If I could do my career again, I would have, after doing my business studies degree, I would have gone to New York and I would have gone to the Parsons School of Design, and I would have done an interior design degree, and I would now have my own international interior design practice, working for high net worth individuals with multiple properties around the world,
Love that.
designing their homes for them. And that's what I would have loved to have done.
Sounds pretty wonderful. So instead, you're just a high-powered corporate affairs person with great taste. So that's
I would like to think so.
brilliant, brilliant. Well, thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate it, Mary. It's I know your time is precious, so we really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure, James, and thank you for inviting me.
Yeah.